Hey everybody, it's Fox with FoxeoGames, and I'd like to talk about the term JRPG and why I feel a lot of people are using it in a way that's both not very useful and not very meaningful. When we say JRPG, we recognize that that means Japanese role-playing game. Most people will recognize that a JRPG is a subgenre of the RPG genre. Not all RPGs are JRPGs, but all JRPGs are RPGs in the larger sense. Not everyone who likes RPGs will like JRPGs, and not everyone who likes JRPGs will necessarily like other kinds of RPGs like Wizardry or Ultima. Take for example a game like Tales of Xillia. When you play this game, it has some obvious differences in the tone, the story, characters, and the world than say a game like Dragon's Dogma. But actually both of these were created in Japan by Japanese developers, so a lot of people refer to both of these games as JRPGs. But does someone who likes Tales of Xillia necessarily going to like a game like Dragon's Dogma? Aren't these games inherently different? Wouldn't someone who likes Dragon's Dogma perhaps be more likely to enjoy a game like Kingdoms of Amalur than they would a game like Tales of Xillia? I definitely think so. In fact, what I'm getting at here is that a lot of people have taken this idea of a JRPG and simply defined it by race or by a country of origin. And that's something we really don't do with any other game. I mean, let's think about this. A JRPG is a role-playing game made in Japan, or a role-playing game made by Japanese people. So are we defining this game based on the race of the developer? Is that what we're doing? Because if that's not what we're doing, then certainly a Japanese company founded and created in the United States would not be creating a JRPG, right? Because they're not in Japan. But maybe they would be creating a JRPG because they're a Japanese company, because they're originally from Japan. And do you see where I'm getting with this? This doesn't make any sense. I mean, think about this. Let's say a group of 4 guys from Finland, they're all Finnish. They were born and raised in Finland, they all moved to Japan, they form a company, and they make a role-playing game. That company is inherently Japanese because it was formed and operates in Japan. However, the 4 developers themselves are Finnish. So what is that? Is that a JRPG because it was created in Japan? Or is that a FRPG? A Finnish RPG? Or is it just an RPG? Are we actually defining a special genre of RPGs not based on the game itself, but based on the race of the developers, or based on the country in which the developers live or were born? Let's use something not game related in order to emphasize what I'm talking about here. Take for example this French press. This is a coffee maker known as a French press because of the type of coffee maker that it is. It may not be necessarily French in every sense of the word because I think the original designer was Italian, but it was popularized through a French company and ultimately became known as a French press. And that French press is a French press because of what it is, not because of where it comes from. And the way we can emphasize this is very simple. This particular French press was actually made in Brazil. I bought it here in the US, but it's originally manufactured in Brazil. Does that change it from a French press into a Brazilian press? If a French press is made in the United States, do we now refer to it as an American press? Of course not. A French press is a French press because of the type of object that it is, not because of its country of origin. This is how we refer to this device. And just like we refer to a French press because of what it is, we refer to a JRPG because of what it is, not because of where it came from. See, I just don't understand this term JRPG and how we've come to use it. I understand how some people could be confused by it, but I think as soon as something like this is pointed out, we should quickly realize, oh, yeah, defining it that way doesn't make sense. Because let's think about this. Take a game like CTHULHU Saves the World. This game was not made in Japan, and it was not made by any Japanese person. However, this game clearly follows the old traditional 16-bit JRPG formula. By genre definitions, looking at the game itself, this is a JRPG in the traditional sense. However, a lot of people would not define it as a JRPG because the developers aren't Japanese. Because they're not from Japan, they are not situated in Japan. Do you see why this doesn't make sense and is actually kind of racist? I mean, really, does it matter what race the developers are? Does it matter what country the developers are from? Is that how we should start defining all games? I mean, should we define the Witcher series as a PRPG? A Polish RPG because it was made in Poland? And again, what about a game where, for example, let's take a Japanese company. let's say that they decide to separate their company into 3 different parts. One part of their company is located in Japan. They take the 2 other parts of their company, they put one of them in England, and they put one of them in the US. Now, all 3 of these companies continue to make RPGs the same way they've always made them. Are they now different? What about this originally Japanese company in England making RPGs, and this originally Japanese company in the US making RPGs? And don't think this is far-fetched. I mean, Secret of Evermore was created by an American company that was really associated in the spin-off of a Japanese company. So are these still JRPGs, or are these now defined differently? Because why? I hope you guys see what I'm trying to say here. The term JRPG is not referring to a country of origin, nor to the race of the developers. The term JRPG is referring to the game itself. A JRPG is a JRPG because of the kind of game it is. Tales of Xillia plays and feels differently from a game like Dragon's Dogma. And someone who likes Dragon's Dogma isn't necessarily going to like Tales of Xillia. Even though both were made in Japan, that's really no reason to associate them together and act as if they're the same subgenre just because of their country of origin or the race of the developers. If you like a game like Tales of Xillia, you're far more likely to enjoy a game like The Last Remnant, for example, than you are a game like Kingdoms of Amalur. And what we're getting at here is that genres define games based on the game itself, and that's it. It's the game that defines what genre the game goes in, not the race of the developers, or the country of origin of the developers, or the country in which the developer's company is located. Leave your comments below, and I will see you next time.